Sometimes when studying for exams, it can feel like these words are so difficult. Are these really used in conversation? So today I'm going to look through about 20 words and just see if these words that you need to know for TOEIC are really used in everyday conversation. Okay, so let's see which word we've got first. Okay, contract. Yes, a word that we use a lot. If you want to get a job, you need to sign a contract. If you want to get an apartment, you need to sign a contract. So yes, contract is definitely a word that we use in everyday conversation. Let's see what's next. Assurance. Yeah, assurance is a word that we use in everyday conversation. It's not a word I use every day, but it is a word that we use regularly. It's a word that we use a lot. When you give someone assurance, it means to tell them that don't worry, it will be okay. So if someone's worried about the future or worried about some problem, they need assurance. And you tell them, it's okay, it's okay. So that's giving someone assurance. If it's used in a verb, then we say, I assure you that it will be okay. So yes, this is a word that we use. It's quite a high-level English word. Some of you might not know this word, but you should learn this one. We do use this. Next up, we've got determine. Determine is a word that we use quite regularly. Again, not every day, but we do use this quite a lot. So it means to find out something, usually after some thinking or after looking at some results or evidence or information. So quite a common example sentence you might see in some crime dramas, some detective dramas. People might say, we need to determine the cause of death. So we need to find out how this person died. We need to determine the cause of death. Also, to determine can mean, for example, how hard you study will determine the result of your exam. So how hard you study will lead to or will give you a particular result. So how hard you study will determine the result of your exam. So there's two ways we use this, and yes, it is used a lot in conversation. So remember this word. Let's see what's next. Engage. Okay, so engage, again, a word, I don't use it every day, but we do use this word quite regularly. So far, all the words, they have been words that we really do use in everyday conversation. Again, quite high level words, but we do use these words. Engage means to kind of interact with something or to concentrate on something. So if you want to learn English, you need to engage with lots of English learning materials. You need to sort of interact with, concentrate on something, focus on something. We say engaged. So you could say, if somebody is very focused on his work, you can say, he's engaged with his work right now. He's working very, very hard. And of course, you probably know the other meaning of this word, to get engaged to somebody, which means to promise you are going to marry them. So when you say, will you marry me? And they say yes, those people are engaged. But that's a different meaning of the word. Again, a word we do use in conversation. Let's see what's next. Establish. Some of you might know this word, very common word. Establish means to create something new. So if you look on many businesses, they'll say established in 1986. And that means this business was created, first made in 1986. So that's establish. Okay, provisions. So this is a word that we use as both a noun and a verb. So for example, in the army, the soldiers are usually given their provisions. So it means they are given food. They are supplied with food. So usually when something is given as, like I just said, supplies, when something is handed out in a kind of systematic way, in a kind of organized way, then it can be called provisions, particularly food. It could be other supplies. And sometimes it's used as a verb. So to provision something means to hand it out, as I just explained. Okay, so yeah, another word that we do use sometimes. Let's see what's next. Resolve. This is a word that is used very frequently. Some of the other words, like I said, they're used sometimes. This word is used pretty regularly. Resolve means to find a solution for a problem or an argument. For example, if person A is angry about person B eating their food, then finally they say, okay, I'll buy you some more food. Okay, shake hands, we're friends again. They have resolved their argument or they have resolved their problem. So yeah, this is a word that does come up quite a lot in everyday conversation. Let's see what's next. Specific. Yes, this word, I probably say this word many times every day. Might be the most common word that's come up so far. Specific means particular. It means not this one, not this one. I'm talking about this one. So for example, I'm an English teacher. If I ask a student, what do you want to study? What do you want to learn? And if they say English, then I will ask them to please be more specific. I will ask them, can you tell me specifically what you want to study? Or please tell me something specific that you want to study. And then they might say, okay, I want to study for TOEIC, or I want to study how to speak in a natural way. And I will say, okay, great. Now I understand more specifically what you mean. All right. Assure. We had assurance earlier, which is basically the same meaning of this. Remember, this is just the verb form. I told you assurance means to tell somebody, don't worry, it will be okay. Or don't worry, I will do this job. So I assure you, I will do this job the best way I can do it. It's like I promise you. Cancel. Of course, this is a very common word. This is probably the most common word we've seen so far. I don't know why this is on this list, because most students working on TOEIC probably know this word. You might even use this word in your own language. I think this word has been borrowed by lots of language. So if you book a lesson with me, if you reserve a lesson, then you change your mind and you say, actually, I'm busy that day, I'm going to cancel that lesson. And it means you delete your reservation. You don't meet with me that day. You cancel this word. Everyone, I think you all know this word. Right. Cancelled. Same word in past tense. Obligation. Obligation, again, a word that is used quite regularly. Some of you might not have heard this before, but we do use this word. An obligation is something like a promise. It's something that you have to do. So for example, I have a daughter, and as a parent, it is my obligation to look after her. I have to look after her. I must look after her because she's my daughter. I'm her parent. It's my obligation to look after her. Obligatory. This is the adjective version. Obligatory means something that must be done. So for example, if you're joining a new gym and you want to just start exercising, and they say, you need to do a trial first. We need to teach you how to use the gym. And you say, I don't want to do that. I just want to exercise by myself. They might say, I'm sorry, it's obligatory. You have to do it. You must do it. You don't have any choice. So that is obligatory. Provide. Provide is a word that is used all the time. Very, very common word. Provide means to give something. Usually it's used in a more formal sense. So for example, at home, I wouldn't say to my wife, can you please provide me with some sugar or something? I would just say, please give me some sugar. If it's something more organized, like for example, a company to their employee, they might say, we are going to provide you with a car. So you get a new job, they give you a car with the job, and the company might say, we will provide you with a car. Specify, that is the verb of specific, which we talked about earlier. And I think I already used this in an example sentence. So can you specify what you want to study? Means can you tell me specifically what you want to study? Specification, this is the noun version of specify. So a lot of these words in this list, we've got different forms of the same word. Specifications is sometimes used to talk about the kind of measurements or the kind of system of a computer or something. So in a business, somebody might say, this computer doesn't have the specifications that we require. It's not powerful enough, or perhaps it's too big for our desk or something. So it doesn't fit with what we need. Attract, this is a word that we use all the time. Attract means to pull something, for something to be pulled to something else. So if it's a magnet, these things that pull metal, then a magnet attracts metal. And we use this word to talk about anything being pulled in. So you can say, for example, that guy attracts a lot of attention. And that means a lot of people are looking at him all the time. Perhaps he's very loud, or perhaps he wears very colorful clothes and he gets people's attention. Then we use this expression, he attracts people's attention. You can also use this for people that you like in a kind of romantic way. You can say, I am attracted to people who are intelligent. So that means you like people who are intelligent. You want to date people who are intelligent. You can say, I am attracted to those people. Compare, this is a word that you should probably know if you're learning English. Compare means when you take one thing, you look at another thing, and you look at them together and you compare them. So for example, if you compare this book to this book and you say, this book is heavier than this book, or you can say, I like this book more than this book. This book is more interesting than this book. I'm comparing these two books. Okay, let's see what's next. Competition is the last one of the 20. And again, this is a word that we really do use in conversation. Competition is when you have A versus B. So it could be a race. It could be a spelling competition, which is quite popular in the English-speaking world because English is a crazy language with lots of different origins. So spelling is difficult even for native speakers. So we have these things called spelling competitions. Sometimes it's called a spelling bee. And these usually young students, they are competing. They have a competition to see who is the best at spelling. They're given difficult words and they have to try to spell them. So that was just 20 words that we had a quick look at. And like I said, some of these are not used every day, but they are all words that are used in conversation quite regularly. So they're all words that if you really want to speak English, you should probably know all of these words. But my advice would be when trying to learn vocabulary is don't learn from lists like this. Sometimes they can be good to check if you're missing some important words, but really you should be learning words by listening to podcasts like mine. There's a link for that below if you haven't listened before. So listen to podcasts like mine, listen to Everyday English, get lots of listening practice of people just speaking in a natural way. Try to read books, try to read the internet, try to watch YouTube. Try to pick up vocabulary in a natural setting, in a natural situation, because that way you'll understand better what it means, you'll understand how to use it, and it will just be easier to remember. I've always found when I try to study languages from lists, I never remember that information, and those words never come out when I'm trying to use them in a conversation. But words that I learn when I'm watching TV shows or listening to things or reading things, those words just come out sometimes and I'm almost surprised myself. So don't learn things from lists like this. But if you are practicing for an exam like TOEIC or IELTS or TOEFL or any other exam, then it is good to check these lists to see if you are missing any words you might need for the exam. So that's all from me. If you enjoyed this video or thought it was useful, please like and comment to let me know. And if it's your first time, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all back here next time.